the two student athletes finally men that are representing UCLA here today, Connor McDermott and Jayon Brown. Connor is our left tackle, an outstanding player, a leader on our team, and one of the best offensive tackles in the country. And Jayon Brown is a young man that burst on the scene last year as an inside linebacker, as a tackling machine, great attitude, great leader, one of our captains, and we're really excited to see these guys play this year. That being said, we're very excited about our opportunities this year. We look forward to an exciting season in a very difficult conference. We understand the challenges that face us. We're coming off a season that was, in our estimation, a little bit disappointing to us, especially the way that it ended. And we'd like to make amends for that. Our players have had a tremendous offseason. They've been very dedicated in the weight room, in the classroom, on the practice field. We went through 15 days of spring practices. It was my 5th spring here at UCLA, and I felt that it was our most productive spring in many, many ways. Felt like we had a great competitive environment, but a tremendous sense of cooperation amongst our players. And I love the team chemistry that's being built, that's being established by our leaders like Jayon and like Connor and like many, many others. And we're hoping to carry that momentum into our fall practice season. And certainly we have a difficult schedule, but opening on the road at Texas A&M, but I think that all of our players will tell you they're excited about the challenges that face them because they're competitive and they want to measure themselves against the best. And we're certainly going to get that opportunity in our out-of-conference schedule, and then without a doubt playing a Pac-12 schedule. So excited to be here today, excited to kick off the 2016 season, and a lot of anticipation for good things to come. So, thank you.
All right, this time.
So, Coach,
Tracy.
how you doing?
I'm well, thank you.
Good. Pac-12 picked UCLA to win the Pac-12. The Pac-12 media picked to win the Pac-12 South. Does that have any effect on the players, coaches, on your program at all, and how they approach it?
First of all, it surprised me. I thought that USC, Utah, Arizona State, Arizona, Colorado, I thought those teams would probably be picked ahead of us just based on the way that we finished last year in a rather disappointing fashion. I would hope that our internal expectations, the standards that we're trying to hold ourselves to, would weigh more on us than the external expectations. But in today's digital world, our players will be aware of that. Hopefully we can minimize the effects on it and just stay focused on what we need to do, the process that we need to take in order to hopefully make our way to the championship.
Jim, the allegations from the McQueary testimony, was that about what Tom knew and when he knew it? Was that known as part of the vetting process of him, or is this new information that became known to you earlier this week?
Well, first of all, any time that you're dealing with sexual abuse and you're dealing with young people specifically, the first thing that you have to think about is the victims. And our hearts go out to the victim. As a father of 4 young children, I can't imagine the horror of being in that position. And it's, I can't think of anything that can be more horrifying as a parent or as a victim. So our first thoughts is towards that. Tom is a man of integrity that was heavily vetted, not just by UCLA, but by others as well. We went through a lengthy process in determining whether or not we wanted to make that hire. From our chancellor on down, everybody was involved in the decision and took it very, very seriously, knowing what the accusations had been at Penn State, not with regards to Tom, but just in general. And so, yeah, that was part of the vetting process. We were privy to as much information that was available at that time.
So, but that new information was not known at that time?
I can't tell you specifically if it was known at that time. I can tell you that any information that was public that we had access to was known and was reviewed, certainly.
Was there a new review after these allegations? Was that revisited
No.
at all?
Tom made a statement through his lawyer, through his attorney, his agent, Brett Sr. I think it was very specific. I think that, This is a situation that has obviously been delved into in great depth, and I think Tom will stand by his statement, I'll stand by his statement, and we'll all stand by Tom and what he can do and what he didn't.
Coach, what makes you happy about this team, and what does this team have to improve on?
I'm happy about, we talk about talent a lot of times. Talent is one thing, but team chemistry and attitude and work ethic and character and the type of culture you're building, some of the intangibles are as important as talent when you're going through a long, grueling season. And I'm excited about those aspects of our team. And coming out of spring, I felt as good as I have in my 5 years there about where we were in those areas. So that gives me a lot of hope for the future. It's going to be a difficult season. It always is. The Pac-12 is a dog-eat-dog conference, and there are no easy games. If you don't bring your A game every week, you're going to get beat. And so that is a challenge. And so we need to be able to build consistency. And what people know, you all know, and our fans know, is that we've had some games where we were off. I don't ever want to say you should have won a game, but games that we didn't play up to our potential. And so we have to develop a more consistent approach each week. And I think that comes with maturity, and I think it comes with team chemistry and the things that we're trying to build.
You said after the bowl game you needed to get bigger and stronger. How have you done on those two fronts?
We've done well. Our young men have dedicated themselves to that. Coach Alosi's done a great job. And part of that was the fact that, we lost some really good players on defense, some of our anchors. But, coming out of the spring practices, moving into the summer conditioning program, it's a good-looking group, And I was talking specifically towards the defense, I think. And if you look at the way Jayon looks today, and getting Eddie back, and adding, some of the young men that we have some size, and looking at Matt Dickerson, who's now a 290-pounder, Eliank, who's 320, and not chubby, but fit. I think we've moved in the right direction. We've got to continue to do that.
What's the status of some of those guys injury-wise? Eddie Vanderdoes, who else? Mora.
You know what? They're all cleared right now. I think the important thing is this, especially with two guys that have played a lot of football, specifically Eddie and Fabian, is that we do a really nice job of managing them through the fall camp and making sure that they're getting the work that they need so that they're sharp and they're prepared to go to Texas A&M and play well, but that we don't wear them out, we don't sacrifice their health, and we'll do a good job of that. We've changed the structure of our training camp a little bit this year. As everyone knows, we've always gone to San Bernardino for 2 weeks. This year, we're going to spend the first week at UCLA, and then we're going to go out to San Bernardino just for 6 days and have 9 practices and really get after it, and then we'll come back to UCLA and start preparing for the season.
What was the thinking?
Concern going into the fall camp? Biggest concern?
My concerns are always the health and welfare of our players, staying healthy and that balance between getting the work in that you need to get in order to be prepared for the season, staying healthy. Specific to position, probably every coach in here, just depth, along the offensive line specifically. Filling, the spots that we lost, the 3 great receivers that left us, Devin Fuller, Jordan Payton, and Thomas Duarte, and filling the production that we're going to be missing there. But I feel good about our team. I feel good about the attitude that they have and the way they work. I really do.
What do you feel your greatest strengths will be?
I think that we've got 2 outstanding offensive tackles in Connor McDermott and Colton Miller. I think those guys are both, they have some special traits to them. I'm excited about the running back position with Nate Starks and Sosa Jamabo and Bolo will run for me. Then we bring in 2 pretty darn good freshmen, and Brandon Stevens and Jalen Starks. I think that's a solid group right there. I like our defensive line and our linebackers. Really, I like our defense in general. I think that we've made a little bit of a change in our scheme. We've gone from a 3-4 structure more to a 4-3, which, interestingly enough, was what we played predominantly anyway, because we're in so much nickel. But I think it fits the personality of our players better, and having them in the system really for the second year, although we made some minor changes, it's still essentially the same system. I think will help them play faster, more confidently and more efficient.
What did you learn from last year that will help you launch yourself to a higher level this year?
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
What did you learn from last year to help you to propel your team to a higher level this year?
Well, every year, every week, every game, you're trying to learn and apply those lessons. I can't tell you anything that's just specific that stands out, other than the need to, constantly emphasize to your players preparation, work habits, attitude, consistency, taking every opponent as the most important opponent that you've ever played, and really trying to play to your standard every week rather than playing up and down to the level, the interpretation or when people think the level of your opponent is.
Question is Josh Rosen and what makes him so?
Josh has a chance to be very, very special. He's a talented young man. He's got tremendous arm talent. He's very, very smart. He has a great feel for the game, both offensively and defensively. He can make all the throws. And it's up to him how great he becomes. It'll be determined by his work ethic, by his ability to learn and adapt. And he's shown a willingness to do all of those things. I'm really excited about him. He's had a good offseason. His teammates really respect him and they really like him. And I think, the great quarterbacks that I've been fortunate to be around, and I've been able to, I don't say this in a braggadocious way, but I've been able to be around some of the greatest ever, all had a personality trait that allowed them to integrate themselves into the team, become a member of the team, well-liked and well-respected, can go out and do things with the guys, but also separate themselves from the team when they needed to assume that leadership role as a quarterback. And I see those traits in Josh at a very young age, and he just needs to continue to develop that way.
Why the change in training camp structure? I know you really liked San Bernardino in the past.
I have liked San Bernardino, and I still do like San Bernardino, and I think it serves us well to go out there. But quite frankly, we were out there too long. In that first week, you're only allowed one practice a day. And it became a little bit more of a grind and a burden on our players and our staff than I'd really like. So what we're going to do is that first week, we're going to stay at the new Luskin Center there, that beautiful new hotel on campus right at our fields. We're going to use our facilities. We'll have one practice a day. We'll have our normal walkthroughs and meetings. And then we're going to do some team activity things. Some things are a little bit different, just some team bonding things. We're bringing in some great speakers and things like that. And then we'll go out to San Bernardino that second week where we can have 2 days. And we'll have 9 practices in 6 days and really get after it, really grind. And then we'll come back and get ready for the season. So we just felt as a staff that at this point in our development, that was the best way for us to go.
Have you ever faced a former coordinator? First game after you left your staff? I don't know if that ever happened in the NFL.
Yeah.
It's a pretty unique situation. Yeah.
I have actually a lot. A number of times.
Really?
Yeah. It needs to change some things, yeah. You need to change some signals, some of your verbiage, but that's natural for us right now because we have adapted our offense a little bit. I don't know how much we'll have to change defensively, probably some of our hand signals, but structurally, probably not anything. And, everyone always asks, is it an advantage to play something that you're so familiar with? It is and it isn't, because he's familiar with you as well.
Right.
So it's all about going out and executing and playing well and checking the football, taking the football away and doing those things.
What sort of message did you have, if any, for Josh after the thing with the hot tub and the Trump hat?
The hot tub, I found amusing. I thought it was a young college student having a little bit of fun. The Donald Trump tweet and then the NCAA tweet. We had conversations about that and about the appearance, about the image that he's projecting for himself and for his university. But I'll tell you this, UCLA has a long history, going back to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who was law senator at the time, and Bill Walton, of having people on their campus that are socially aware and not afraid to rattle the cage a little bit. And I just want to make sure that Josh understands that this is a different world, and that everything that he does say is being analyzed and sometimes overanalyzed, and that he's making good decisions and thinking twice before he speaks once, and more for his future than anything else. But he's a young man, and he's got his own thoughts, And we want to encourage that, but at the same time, we want to be socially responsible.
Is that part of the reason why Josh isn't here today? Is it
Why?
the
Because
fact that
we've always brought upperclassmen, and so Jayon and Connor have earned the right to be here. Josh he's played one season in college football. These guys have played multiple, so that's been our policy. It's not to hide him, and he'll have access. You'll have access to him every Monday this year. But quite simply, it's not to hide him. It's to reward some of our upperclassmen that we think earned it.
Coach, we have talked about team speed and especially the return game. I know UCLA hasn't returned a lot of kicks and punts for touchdowns recently. Have you addressed that?
Well, Ishmael has, and we'll get him back there again this year doing it. He's been a pretty dynamic returner, very good returner for us. I don't know where he ranks or where we rank in the return game, but I believe that we're pretty darn good, quite frankly. Maybe not for touchdowns. Those are hard to do. But getting Ishmael back there again as a returner, I think will help us. We moved him to offense in the spring. He's a dynamic guy when he has the ball in his hands, and hopefully, we can block things up a little bit better for him, and then he can make some special things happen on his own because that ability.
What was the kind of the logic behind moving him from obviously a very good defensive player over to offense for this season?
Yeah, it's a great question. Very good defensive player for us, but we've got some corners that we have a lot of confidence in. Getting Fabian back, Marcus Rios is healthy. Some of our young guys have come along. And as I said, Ishmael's a dynamic player with the ball in his hands. And so if we can dictate when the ball's in his hands rather than him having to intercept it or a kick that may go, to an area that he can't field it, us being able to design plays to get him the ball in space, I think will benefit us. And there's a chance that he'll still see some time on defense.
How's that transition gone for him? What have you seen in the spring?
It was great. One of the things that I love is that he brings a defensive mindset to an offensive position, a real element of toughness and competitiveness and feistiness. And he's not only is he good with the ball in his hands, but he's a tenacious blocker as well. And so I think that'll really benefit us offensively. Quite extensively. I try to talk to all those guys just based upon my experience in the NFL and going through the draft on that end and what evaluators are looking for. And Connor and I spoke extensively about it, and I was pleased that he made the decision that he made. I was talking to Lincoln Kennedy last night, who's a great player in the NFL, and whose son is, one of the great players in the country at that position as well. And Lincoln's thought was, the offense, you can't get enough reps. The two positions where you need repetitions are quarterback and offensive line. And so for Connor to be able to come back and play 12, 13, 14, 15 games, whatever it ends up being, and get those reps will only enhance his position in the draft next year.
And the A&M game's coming up, so he's going to be under the microscope because of Garrett. Is that matchup going to be overhyped, or is it something you're already kind of...
I think everything's a little bit overhyped, I think in a team sport, when you start emphasizing the individual battles too much, it overhypes it, because we give him help if he needs it. We'll put a tight end there, we'll chip him sometimes, we'll move the pocket a little bit, and then there'll be times that Connor just has to win. And going against another great player, there'll be some snaps where he struggles a little bit. But that's what the game of football is all about. And there's no one I'd rather have playing that spot than Connor McDermott. I'm very comfortable with him.
Is there any way to talk about how far he came last season from September to December?
Heck, I'll tell you talk about where he came from. He first walked into UCLA. He's about 225-pound tight end, and now he's a big, good-looking tackle. But last year, he stayed healthy for the most part. We avoided, he got lucky a couple times with the knee. We thought that we lost him at Utah, but he fought through it. He's become just a real, consistent, solid, dependable player and team leader. And just really thankful that he decided to come back to UCLA for one more year.
Coach, how would you characterize your team right now going into this season?
Hungry, anxious, challenged, excited. I think there's just a real good esprit de corps amongst our team, one like I haven't seen maybe since my first year there, and that excites me. I love the way they're working together, and pushing each other, and holding each other accountable. And I think they're really excited to kind of wash the bad taste out of their mouth that last season ended with.
Coach, at Texas A&M, at BYU, what do you expect to know about your guys after those first 3 games?
Well, those are two really tough games on the road. It's hard to go down to A&M and win, and certainly BYU will be a real challenge. Our grit, our toughness, our ability to overcome adverse situations. I think that all those things will be exposed. We've been a team historically the last few years that's played well on the road. We seem to rise up to those occasions. I would expect that we'll do the same thing. But it'll be revealing, but it won't be the end all. Whether we win them both or split or lose them both, there's a lot of football will be left to be played, and our team will be defined by how we win the season.
Have you moved anybody else, position-wise?
That you and I haven't spoken about?
Yeah. That's the question.
We know what we've done. Let me think.
I mean, just since spring.
Since spring?
Yeah. Are the new freshmen?
No, not that I can recall.
Okay.
No. Lenny. We're going to put Lenny at linebacker, at outside linebacker. His body looks like it's going to grow into the linebacker body, so we're going to make that move now.
Okay.
Would you say, given that you changed the offense a little to give Josh more control, what have you seen maybe in the offseason that would lead you to believe he has like a better grasp and he's developing that kind of better sense?
I've seen him spend time learning with Coach Tuiasosopo, coming in and watching some film, taking the guys out of the field and working. And, when you have an intelligent quarterback like Josh, what you want to do is give him the ability to change some things at the line of scrimmage that he sees. And so, there'll be times that we huddle, there'll be times when we get up in the line of scrimmage quickly and snap it right away, and there'll be times when we get up there quickly and we let him digest what he's seeing on defense and get us in the right play. The danger is that you give him too much, that you overestimate what a young person can handle given all the other stresses they have in their life, in school and social and just being a young person. But Josh is pretty unique, and I thought through the course of the spring, it started off offensively a little bit rocky, like you'd think. But by the end of spring, I felt really good about where we were and where he was with this offense.
You diagnosed how it ended last year.
Well, we lost some momentum late. As coaches, it's always our job to put our players in the best position to have success, and we certainly didn't do a good enough job of that. And then we realized that we need to continue to emphasize just getting bigger and stronger and more physical. And that's something that every coach will tell you they emphasize all the time. But it's no fun when a team can run the ball on you, especially the way Nebraska did. And that was a function of us not doing a very good job as coaches, and that's quite frankly just needing to continue to develop our players naturally. And that's what we've emphasized.
Coach, you talked about Fabian Marcus being back to full strength. Is Johnny Johnson back to full strength too?
Johnny will be back at full strength in the fall, let's just cross our fingers and hope that he can stay healthy, because he is a talented young man, and he's just had the injury bug. So I'm excited about Colin Samuels. I'm excited about Denzel Fisher. I'm excited about Octavius Spencer. I think he can play some safety, he can play some corner. I'm excited to see our defense develop. I think we've got to get defense, and I felt that way last year too. And then we suffered those injuries, and the dynamics changed. And hopefully we can stay healthy and we can reach our potential.
And Deshaun Holiday's still at safety for the fall.
He is right now. He's at safety. He's up to about. He was during the spring. He was about 220 pounds. The last I checked last week, he was down to about 213 pounds, which is probably where he should be. But he likes to play safety. He wants to play safety, and hopefully he can help us there. If not as a starter or a role player on defense, I think he has a position on defense on special teams in the NFL.
Coach, I was looking at an old 1967 Stanford presser.
Yeah.
Your dad was on Coach Olson's staff with Mike White, Coach O'Neill, and I know at UCLA, Donahue, Comey. Do you lean on some of, do you lean on, you ever talk to some of the
I talk to my dad most often. I talk to him a lot. Sometimes I don't necessarily want to hear what he has to tell me, but I listen because he knows. I talk to Coach Vermeil quite often. I always have. He's been a part of my life since I was a young kid, and he's always very, very frank with me. I talk to Coach Donahue quite often. I work with Coach Tomey and stay in touch with Coach Tomey. I wish I could stay in touch with Bill Walsh. You know, he was a major influence on me as a coach when I was with him in San Francisco for those years. I would spend, up to an hour every day in his office. I would have him come to my meetings and evaluate what I was saying, and he just taught me a lot of great lessons. I talk to Coach Holmgren still. I talk to Coach Mariucci still. Unfortunately, I can't talk to Coach Coriel anymore, but I've been very fortunate just to have a lot of great men and great coaches in my life. That being said, some of the greatest lessons I've ever learned are from the players I've coached. You know, guys like Ronnie Lott and Steve Young and men like that. You know, some of the great ones.
How do you think Stanford has been able to do what they've done? Is it just an example of them staying with what they did while everybody else went in another direction, and then all of a sudden they're the team that started to prepare for it because they're doing things that everybody else?
Well, they are hard to prepare for exactly for the reason you said, because you know you spend most of the weeks preparing for some spreads, some fast pace, and all of a sudden you get this big physical downhill run team that's made a real commitment to the style of play that they want to play, and it's not easy. They know who they want to be. They recruit that type of athlete. They have success in recruiting because they're Stanford, you know. And if you have the grades and you're a good enough football player, I mean, your parents are going to push you there, and you want to go there. So they do have success. And I think it's knowing who they want to be, recruiting the right athletes, and continuing to emphasize the things that are important.
You know, maybe a offensive coordinator who never had really a command of an offense before. What are you seeing in the challenges of that, and how is the offense actually formulating relative to the scheme that he's developing?
You talking about Kennedy?
Yes.
Well, he's been an offensive coordinator before, but he had not called plays. And so, you know, obviously there's some uncertainty there, but I've been fortunate to be around him and coached against him and have great respect for him and his knowledge of the game. He's a guy that's put together game plans. He's a guy that's willing to accept input. And we've surrounded him with some coaches that I think are real professionals and experienced. You know, Marcus Tuiasosopo coming in. Marcus has been an interim head coach. He's called plays. I think that'll benefit Kennedy. We've done a lot of things through our practices just to, you know, give him a chance to call plays off the cuff, and he's done a tremendous job. The thing about Kennedy, maybe it's kind of like Stanford, is that he wants this offense to have an identity and has a clear picture of what he wants it to be. He's not going to be wishy-washy. He'll adapt and adjust as he needs to, but he has a clear idea of what he wants us to be, and he's able to convey that to the players in a very concise manner. And so I think we'll all be on the same page, and I think we'll be very detailed in how we present to our players.
Thank you.
Thanks, Coach.